Good afternoon, everybody. It's Val Simpson here today, and we have a very special guest on today's show. Actually, what I do want to mention is that we're going to try something new. This is going to be what we called a Spanglish entrevista, así que get ready, everybody. But back to my guest, because I am super excited, you guys. I want to introduce to you the beautiful Juliette Valle, who has been crowned Miss Florida, and this just happened a few weeks ago. Juliette, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I was telling you off camera, we were just mesmerized by your beauty, but not only that, you have, let me tell you, a set of brains on you. And congratulations, number one, on winning Miss Florida. We're super excited, especially because you're representing the Hispanic culture. So tell me, how does that make you feel? How was that, winning that title?
My goodness, I remember everything about that moment, oddly enough. But I just remember thinking, this can't be happening. I was so excited. I've been competing for a very long time. I competed twice as a teen competitor and 3 times as a Miss competitor. So this has been a very long time in the making. And just to finally have your dream realized after so long is just an indescribable feeling and something I'll never forget. And seeing my family after was also very wonderful. And to be able to represent the Hispanic community, being the second Hispanic Miss Florida crowned in an 87-year history, is a wonderful feeling. And it was just something that I really wanted to achieve. So having done that was just the biggest blessing.
And I know in the introduction I didn't say this, but you just graduated from is that right? And you graduated with a bachelor's in political science, huh? I love that, the you. Congratulations. I mean, that is, what a combo. Miss Florida and incredibly, having that bachelor's from in political science, that's an achievement.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so lucky to have gone to It's the best school.
Tell me, why did you choose
Well, my parents actually met at My dad, after taking medical school in Peru, came to the States and did some more training at the University of Miami. He studied nephrology, which is what he does now. Mm-hmm. And he met my mother there, who is now a transplant nurse, and she was studying at Jackson Memorial. So they met at the University of Miami. My eldest sister went to the University of Miami. My middle sister went to the University of Miami Law School. My grandmother worked under 2 football coaches at the University of Miami. 3 of my uncles went to the University of Miami, so we're a family. That's why there was no other choice.
It was in the cards.
I didn't apply to any other Florida schools. So,
Qué lindo. Me encanta. So you started at a very young age. I understand that I have a lot of questions to get through, so I'm going to dive in. So you started at a very young age, and what I would like to know is, when was that, and actually what or how did the desire come about to compete in pageants? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I was beginning training in opera. I had been working with a vocal coach of mine when I was younger, 13, and she told me that she thought I could sing opera. So I began working with the Florida Grand Opera. I went to the Frost School of Music's summer camp at the University of Miami as a child, which is where I ended up studying in college as a minor, which was a very full circle moment for me. But suffice to say, my life was, consumed with opera because it was something I was learning about and beginning to love. Albeit I didn't think that it was a very common thing for young people to like. So I was kind of excited about it, yet a little insecure. However, when I was watching Miss America, I was 14. It was Miss America 2016. And Miss Georgia sang an opera song, and I was mesmerized. And I thought, this is exactly what I want to do when I'm her age. She ended up winning the competition, which further solidified my desire to do it. And ever since then, 8 years later, it's been a dream of mine. So to be able to be going to Miss America is just absolutely crazy.
That is, what an unbelievable story that at such a young age, you already knew what you wanted to do and follow your heart. So tell me, how does it feel to be able to represent Florida and, of course, also, the Latin culture in these competitions and these pageants?
Well, it's wonderful because I know you and I were chatting a little bit before. I'm born and raised in Florida, so this state means so much to me. It's where I've been educated. It's where I've made all of my formative memories. It's where my parents met. So it really does mean the world that I get to represent a state that I've lived in my whole entire life. And even, more of an initiative for me is to be able to represent the Hispanic community. In 103 years, there's never been a Hispanic Miss America crowned.
And the Miss America blows my mind. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. That just blows my mind. So in 102 years, there's never been a Hispanic or a Latina Miss America?
That's correct. I have done a lot of research on this. I was reading a book called Looking for Miss America. It was published in 1921. And on the third or fourth page of the book, very early on, it says there's never been a Hispanic or Muslim Miss America crowned. And that, when I read that, shocked me because I'd never thought about it before. So I did more research and I realized that there had never been, at that point in time, a Hispanic Miss America. And the two crowned since have also not been of Hispanic descent. And so the Miss America organization does rightfully pride itself on being very diverse and having a wonderful plethora of women. So it's not to say that they have missed the mark here, but it is to say that we are a group of women that need to be recognized and need to be cherished and need to be celebrated.
La verdad que sí, la verdad que sí. Así que usted ya sabe en casa todos apoyar a Juliette Valle para que gane. Vamos, eh? So yeah, I'm just trying to get that fan base going over here from the Hispanic corner. Okay, so I'm assuming that I understand and I hear that there's a possibility that the pageant is going to be here in South Florida. Is that correct?
So that is what the rumor is. I cannot confirm or deny because we do not know yet. However, I do know that announcement will be made soon. However, I hope that it could be. That would be absolutely wonderful to have it be here. But wherever it is, I know it's going to be a fabulous location and it's going to be the memory of a lifetime.
And in the case that it was, do you think that that's going to be a little bit more pressure for you being Miss Florida and all?
No, I think it's going to be wonderful. I mean, I think my parents would probably have half of the auditorium filled. I think it would just be a very big group of people, but I would feel very lucky if I got to be in my hometown, especially in the area of Florida that I'm from. That would be very crazy.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. We would love to see you thrive. So talking about a little bit of pressure and the intensity, I'm assuming that these competitions are full of that. Can you share a little bit with me on that? How the process of it all, or how do you handle it?
Yes, well, it certainly is a very intense process. And I do think that having friends, the sisterhood that the Miss America organization provides really does help get you through it. And, being surrounded by so many incredible women that are all very accomplished and very talented and smart and are doing wonderful things in their community. I'm not going to lie, of course, it's intimidating, but I will say that over, the 8 years that I've been involved since I was 14, I have not allowed these women to make me feel not as good about myself, but to motivate me to be better because I'm inspired by them and they influence me to try harder, to do better, to give back more. So really, I just take inspiration from the girls around me. And I think that's the best way to look at it. My mom always says to me, comparison is the thief of all joy. So I think that every young lady in this organization tries to focus on herself, be her best self. And I will say that the Miss Florida organization does a wonderful job of highlighting every single candidate's individual strengths.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And speaking of, I want to know, and I think that probably usted en casa también quiere saber esto, what is it that you have to do as Miss Florida? What are some of those engagements and responsibilities that you have?
So right now, my primary job is preparing for Miss America. However, being Miss Florida, we have to connect with our existing sponsors, of which there are many incredibly generous sponsors. I've been spoiled by them within my first month as Miss Florida, and I'm so lucky. Forming new sponsorships and ambassadorships is also very important. My community service initiative regards preventing chronic kidney disease. So what I do is I pair with Donate Life America, the National Kidney Foundation of Florida, working with them to further my initiative and preparing to bring it to the national stage is incredibly important. And just going around to several different events, seeing if there are charities and organizations that I can help by hosting their events or performing at their events or just getting the word out about important causes within the state of Florida. There are so many, and my job is keeping me very busy, but every day is something new and every day is something wonderful.
The fact that you're an ambassador for that is so admirable. Now, for the Miss America pageant and competition, you're going to be competing against 51 other participants. Now, this is the question. If you do win, what's the first thing you're going to do as Miss America?
I'm obviously going to reach out to my fellow Hispanics and we're going to celebrate over such a wonderful accomplishment. Maybe, just
ahí lo tienen, ya escuchó, a celebrar, ¿no? A celebrar, así como nos gusta a todos los latinos. Muy bien.
Muy bien. And of course, just really let that sink in and let that be something that we celebrate because, like you said, it's been 103 years and it's something that is very important to me to make sure that I accomplish that mission. But of course, also promoting my community service initiative. I just said that it was about preventing chronic kidney disease. 37 million Americans have chronic kidney disease, and it is so important to me that I not only serve as an ambassador for them, but also get the message out about how we can prevent the onset of chronic diseases or slow down the trajectory. My father is a kidney doctor and my mom is a transplant nurse. So I've grown up around these patients my whole life, and I want to make sure that they feel seen and heard because chronic disease is much more common than we might think.
And just as we get close to the end of this interview, one of the questions that I have is you have a lot of little girls that look up to you, a lot of little girls that are probably watching you right now and would want to follow in your footsteps. What message do you have for them?
Well, that makes me want to cry because I was that young girl watching Miss America. So that is what it's all about, really. And I would just say to any young girl that wants to chase this dream to just be herself and make the choices that she would be proud of on that stage. Of course, you get a lot of feedback when you're in a role like this, even at a local level. I served as Miss Orlando on my way to Miss Florida, and that in itself is a very arduous job and a wonderful job, but a huge learning curve. And you'll get a lot of feedback, and you'll get some negative comments, and you'll get some wonderful comments. And no matter what you do, of course, there'll always be someone that doesn't like something that you put out or a decision you make. But you have to be confident in what you choose to do. I certainly feel very authentically Juliette when I go on the Miss Florida stage because I know the song I sing, the dress I wear, the statements I say, the community service initiative I've picked is all true to me. And I would want any young lady that goes on a stage to feel the exact same, that she's representing her true self.
That is beautiful. Thank you for that beautiful message that you're sharing for our little ones. And Juliette, I have nothing else to say, but you are the full package. And we want to see you win. We want to see you with that crown. We want to be able to call you the new Miss America representing the Hispanic culture. We're super excited for you, and we're going to be watching you along the way.
I hope you'll be rooting for Florida. I think you will.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're going to do. Florida, absolutely. And everybody watching better too.
You guys, you know who you're going to be rooting for. Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to be here, and you were so wonderful. Thank you for having me today.
So sweet. Muchísimas gracias. Gracias, Julia. Muchísima suerte. Éxitos. Hasta pronto.
Gracias.